Fuck Jake Paul.
Jake, throughout.
Mike Tyson just ended his match with Jake Paul after Jake canceled their fight right after the press conference. Tyson had only asked Jake a few straightforward questions and suggested tweaking a couple of rules for their November 15th match. Jake reacted as if his world had been turned upside down, yelling at Tyson as if the rule changes were a personal attack. Let's not forget that back in March 2024, Jake was practically begging Tyson for this fight. He even agreed to fight under Tyson's conditions and signed the contract without hesitation. Now, it seems Jake's resolve crumbled under pressure, leading to the fight's cancellation.
Sign the contract, big boy. Sign the contract.
No problem. Saturday, July 20th.
Just because Tyson didn't have any specific rules in mind before doesn't mean he can't shake things up now. Let's talk about the press conference at Fanatics Fest on August 18th, where everything was supposed to be business as usual. Some hype, classic trash talk, you know the drill. But Jake Paul had to turn it into a spectacle. Instead of sticking to the script and throwing out standard pre-fight banter, Jake went full throttle, trying to verbally destroy Mike Tyson. Poking fun wasn't enough. He went straight for the jugular. Jake mocked Tyson's age, called him washed up, and then crossed the line by attacking Tyson's health issues. It was like watching an overconfident kid trying to tear down a legend with words alone, oblivious to the storm he was provoking. Jake's reckless taunts only set the stage for the drama that followed. It was clear that Jake wasn't just trying to sell the fight. He was trying to break Tyson mentally before they even stepped into the ring. But Jake clearly forgot who he was dealing with. Tyson, the man who once had the most feared fists in the world, didn't even flinch while Jake went off like a firecracker. Tyson stood there, calm as ever, taking it all in. Not a single word of retaliation, not even a twitch. Just that stone-cold, unreadable expression that has sent chills down the spine of every opponent he's ever faced. It was as if Tyson was letting Jake dig his own grave, storing every insult away for the moment when he could unleash his real response. Jake might have thought he was winning the mind game, but Tyson's silence spoke volumes.
Playing out.
Very painfully.
Jake thought he was playing mind games, but in reality, he was setting himself up for a fall. Tyson's silence wasn't a sign of defeat. It was the calm before a storm Jake wasn't even close to being ready for. As Jake's rant continued, the vibe in the room started to shift. What began as a typical press event quickly turned into something far more intense. You could feel it in the air, and the audience picked up on it too. Jake's over-the-top confidence started to crack, especially when Tyson, with the faintest of smiles, hinted at changing a few of the fight's rules. It wasn't a big dramatic reveal, but it hit harder than anything Jake had dished out all night. The whole room went quiet, and you could practically see the wheels turning in Jake's head as he tried to make sense of what Tyson had just dropped. For the first time that night, Jake's bravado wavered.
With people with the same intention, but the actuality, no.
Jake's swagger took a hit, and for a brief moment, doubt flashed across his face. He found himself on the receiving end of a psychological masterclass from Tyson. The energy in the room flipped, and suddenly, Jake wasn't the big bad wolf anymore. He was the one in danger of being devoured. Jake's biggest mistake was underestimating Tyson's game plan. He didn't realize Tyson had been playing the long game from the start. That press conference wasn't just about hyping a fight. It was the opening round. Tyson dominated without even throwing a punch, leaving Jake reeling from his own miscalculation.
The performance of a lifetime on November 15th, and the universe will align for all of its glory and good for God.
Be in shape, be in good shape, because your health depends on it.
Hey, you're the one that wanted 8 2-minute rounds. You want to make it 10 threes? Don't talk to me about shape. Don't talk to me about shape.
Stay in shape, all right?
You want 10 threes?
Okay.
Now, you're probably itching to know what rule Tyson dropped that sent Jake Paul spiraling into a meltdown. The first rule Tyson introduced was a knockout-only victory rule. That's right. No more technical knockouts, no more scraping by with decision wins. The only way to claim victory was to knock out your opponent. Plain and simple. Now think about it. This rule is tailor-made for someone like Tyson, whose entire career is built on delivering that one devastating punch that leaves his opponents seeing stars. But Jake, well, let's just say his rise in boxing has been, shall we say, controversial. This rule was designed to expose him. There have always been whispers about the legitimacy of Jake Paul's victories, but now, faced with the prospect of delivering a decisive knockout against one of the most feared punchers in history, Jake was staring down a terrifying reality. But Tyson wasn't content with just one bombshell. He had another twist up his sleeve. 2 extra rounds. That's right, the fight, already set to push both men to their limits, was now extended, making it even more grueling. Tyson was making it crystal clear that this wasn't going to be some quick, flashy showdown. It was going to be a brutal test of endurance, a war of attrition where only the toughest would survive. For Tyson, who's gone toe-to-toe with some of the hardest hitters in history, 2 more rounds were nothing. But for Jake, whose commitment to the sport has always been a bit suspect, this was a nightmare come to life. The impact of Tyson's announcements was immediate and brutal. Jake's unshakable confidence, that cocky grin he always wears like armor, vanished in an instant. The swagger was gone. Jake Paul, the YouTuber turned boxer, was suddenly exposed. Jake Paul, who built his entire persona around being fearless, suddenly looked like a deer in headlights. His reaction was pure panic. He canceled the fight on the spot, crying foul and claiming the new rules were illegal. But come on, everyone in the room knew that was nonsense. Jake thinks he is to pull the plug like that. Tyson's not going to let him walk away easily. This is far from over.